This video discusses the concept of circumference and area, and along with that, radius and diameter. So we're going to start with just some simple definitions. The first is that circumference is the length of the outside of a circle. So just like this diagram right here shows, this red line on the outside of the circle is the circumference. If I were to take a piece of string and line the outside of the circle with string and then measure that piece of string using a ruler or something, I would get the circumference as my measurement. The area of a circle is the size of the surface of the circle. So this orange part of the circle is the area. So it's measured in like square inches or square yards or square something because it's not a distance, it's an area. So these two definitions are going to be integral to us being able to do the things that we're doing today, and these two formulas we're going to be using constantly. This little hint right here is just to remind us as we go through different problems that the diameter of a circle is the length all the way across the circle, where the radius is just from the center to the outside. So the diameter is 2 times the radius. So let's say we're given the diameter and we want to know the radius. We're given that, I don't know, the diameter is 10. What's the radius? Well, if we know that the diameter is twice the radius, 2 times the radius, then if the diameter is 10, then the radius has to be 5. And vice versa, if we find that the radius is 10, then the diameter has to be 20 because it's 2 times the radius. So that's just a relationship that we need to be aware of as we go through this. So first, let me scroll a little bit. We're going to just find some circumferences of circles. So we're going to use that 2 pi r circumference formula. And just for consistency's sake, we're going to go ahead and use 3.14 as pi instead of using the pi button on a calculator, just because they work so differently on different calculators. Some of them will leave the pi just as a symbol, while others will simplify it and they go to different decimal places, they round off at different decimal places. So the answers all just end up slightly different. So I think it's easier for us to be consistent if we all just use pi is equal to 3.14. So on all of these problems, I'm going to be using this 2 pi r formula. So right here, it gives me the radius is 6. So if I'm trying to find the circumference, that's equal to 2 pi times the radius, which is 6. So I'm going to go ahead and plug my 3.14 in for pi and do 2 times 3.14 times 6. And then a calculator is going to be our best friend today. So we're going to go ahead and do 2 times 3.14 times 6, and I get 37.68, which rounds to 37.7 centimeters. So my circumference is 37.7 centimeters. Number 2, this time is giving me a diameter instead of a radius. So just like we talked about up here, if the diameter is 47, well, the radius is half that. So 47 divided by 2 is 23.5. So I can go ahead and do 2 times pi, which is 3.14, times the radius, which is 23.5. So 2 times 3.14 times 23.5 equals, rounds to 147.6. Okay, and then I want you to go ahead and try number 3. So if you're at home, pause the video for yourself, try number 3 and check it when you're done. If you are watching this in class, then I'm going to ask the sub to pause the video while you try number 3. Okay, so hopefully now you've tried number 3, and I'm going to go ahead and show you. So the radius is 1.5. So again, 2 times pi times 1.5. So if I enter that in my calculator, 2 times pi times 1.5 rounds to 9.4, and this time we're dealing with inches. So that's the basics of finding circumference. Next we're going to move on to finding area. So if we're finding the area, we're going to use our area formula, obviously. So the area, I'll rewrite up here since we can't see it anymore, is pi r squared. So again, I'm given my radius, so my area is equal to pi, which is 3.14, times the radius, which is 3, squared. Again, my calculator hint for this kind of problem is to do your exponent first, order of operations. Exponents come before multiplication. So if you do your 3 squared first, that's 9, and then multiply that by 3.14, we end up with what rounds to 28.3. And this time we're going to put millimeters squared. This squared does not mean that we're squaring our answer. It means that these are square millimeters, not distance millimeters, that it's measuring the inside of the circle, not a distance. So that's all that that squared means. It doesn't change the number part of your answer. Number 5, we got to find that radius first. So the diameter is 15 yards, so the radius has to be 7.5 yards. So again, I'm going to just do my same formula. So I have 3.14 times 7.5 squared. I'm going to do the 7.5 squared first, then multiply that by 3.14, and that rounds to 176.6 yards. So now for number 6, we're going to do the same drill as we did for number 3. I want you to try it. I would ask you to notice that this gives the diameter, not the radius. So make sure you find the radius first. So go ahead and pause the video and try number 6. Okay, hopefully you've tried that by now. So first, when I find the radius, I'm going to do 4.5 divided by 2. So the radius is 2.25. And then I can do my same process, pi times the radius squared. So I have 2.25 squared equals approximately 5. Multiply that by 3.14. And this rounds to 15.9 square inches. And now after I did that, I realized I didn't put my square on my yards. So this square only comes doing area. You don't have to worry about that with anything else. Okay, numbers 7, 8, and 9 are what I think is a little bit more unfamiliar to people. It's when we're given a circumference or an area, but we're not given the radius. So we're going to go ahead and look at number 7, where it gives us the circumference. And from the circumference, we want to find the radius, and then we want to find the area. So we're going to start by finding the radius. Now, the formula for circumference is 2 pi r. So if the circumference is 43, then that means that 2 pi r equals 43. So if I write this out, this is 2 times 3.14 times r equals 43. And if I multiply this, 2 times 3.14 is 6.28 r equals 43. And then to get r by itself, I can just divide both sides by 6.28. So 43 divided by 6.28 rounds to about 6.8. So I'm going to put that right here. The radius is about 6.8 feet. Well, once I have the radius, finding the area is easy because I can just plug it into my area formula, which is pi r squared. So it's going to be 3.14 times 6.8 squared. Again, using my calculator, 6.8 squared times 3.14. rounds to about 145.2. And this is area, so this is square feet. So number 8 is the same idea, so I want you to go ahead and try this one as well. So you're going to find the radius and then find the area. So go ahead and pause the video. Okay, so hopefully you've tried that now. So our circumference is 2 pi r, and that's equal to 97. I already found over here that 2 times pi is 6.28 times r equals 97. When I divide both sides by 6.28, my radius is equal to 15.4 yards. And then just like we did on number 7, we go ahead and plug that into our area formula. So 15.4 squared, multiply that by pi, which is 3.14. Oops, 15.4 squared times 3.14 equals approximately our area is 744.7 square yards. Sweet. So number 9 is a little bit different because number 9 gives us the area to start with, not the circumference. So we need to use our area formula this time. So pi r squared is equal to 92.75, which is the same as 3.14 r squared equals 92.75. So I'm going to go ahead and divide both sides by 3.14. So this cancels, and I have r squared equals 92.75 divided by 3.14 is 29.5. Now, to get rid of this squared, I'm going to take the square root of both sides. And the square root of 29.5 is approximately 5.4. So our radius is approximately 5.4 centimeters. So here's the thing that's kind of the trick on problems like this, is most of the time, or maybe not most of the time, but some of the time, it's not going to ask you for the radius. It will say, here's the circumference, find the area. Or here's the area, find the diameter. It's going to ask you for a lot of different things, but you every time need to find the radius first. So for example, let's say on number 9, it said the area is 92.75, find the diameter. So if it wants me to find the diameter, well, I'm going to go through this exact same process and find the radius. And then the radius is just 2 times the diameter. So the diameter is 10.8 centimeters. Okay, what if it says, here's the area, find the circumference? Okay, well, I found the radius already using this exact same method, and I can just plug that into the circumference formula. So 2 times pi times the radius, and if I stick that in a calculator, my circumference is about 33.9 centimeters. So there's lots of different things you can find, but they all start with that radius. So find the radius first using this method. So if it gives you circumference, use the circumference formula and set it equal to your number. If it gives you the area, use your area formula, set it equal to your number. And then just get r by itself. You know what the radius is, and you can use that radius to find many other things. The last thing I want to talk about in this video is just a little bit of an application problem. So we're looking at a Ferris wheel. And I'm going to draw a Ferris wheel, but I'm not a great artist, so we're just going to use a circle. So here's my Ferris wheel. And it says the Ferris wheel has a diameter of 36 feet. So the measure across here is 36 feet. Well, in my mind, as soon as it tells me the diameter, I think, okay, well, the radius is half the diameter. So half of 36 is 18 feet. And then the first question is, how far will an individual travel if the wheel rotates once? So let's say I'm sitting in my little cart right here, and the wheel rotates exactly once, and I end up back in my little car right here. How many feet did my car move? Well, that's just the circumference, because the measure of the outside of the circle is our circumference. So circumference formula is 2 pi r, so we have 2 times 3.14 times the radius, which we just found to be 18. So if I enter that in my calculator, I have 2 times 3.14 times 18, and it's about 113 feet. So if I just go around once, I go about 113 feet. The second part of the question is, how far will he travel during a 2-minute ride if it rotates every 20 seconds? Okay, so I need to figure out how many times I'm going to rotate in 2 minutes if I rotate once every 20 seconds. So first I'm just going to think of 1 minute. There's 60 seconds in 1 minute. So 20 seconds, there's 3 20-second sections in 1 minute, because 20 times 3 is 60. So if there's 3 in 1 minute, that would mean there's 6 in 2 minutes. So if every 20 seconds for 2 minutes, it's going to rotate 6 times. And we already found from part A that it rotates 113 feet each time. So 6 times 113, it's going to rotate a total of 678